Hello, we are live. I have um I have Rosa. She is the originator, the woman who created the website and the organization that is attempting to help Black women and bring our issues to the forefront. She has been doing this for years on the ground, and then she started to take it to higher levels. I have known Rosa for years. We have been social media friends for years. So, Rosa, can you tell us a little bit about you and how you got this started? Like, what made you start up this process of, highlighting what women are going through? Tell us a little bit about you.
I started tracking this anecdotally over the course of my nursing career because I noticed that uh, my patients, Black women and girls who came in, had a history of abuse, or they knew someone themselves that had been abused, whether it was a mother, sister, aunt, neighbor, what have you. And they also knew women who had been murdered, again, whether it was family, friends, neighbors, whatever. And so in the back of my mind, I've been tracking that. Fast forward to about the early 2000s, I started having time to start actually tracking it and putting it on a spreadsheet. I had been doing this on my own time, because this was something that was near and dear to me. Um, Around 2018, I decided to make a social media page. At that time, it first started as Our Lives Matter. Then I changed the name to Black Femicide US, and currently is the Black Femicide Coalition. And I noticed that Black women were being killed at a higher rate than what the FBI was saying Black women in general were being killed. At that time, the FBI was saying that a woman was being killed in America every 19 hours. I knew that that could not be true because of what was going on in our community.
Right.
And so I started tracking the data. By 2019, 2020, I noticed that it was like every 6 hours. So that's when I started using the hashtag every 6 hours. Fast forward to today, it is now every 5 hours.
Right.
And despite, there are a bunch of other numbers that are going around, but, it's actually every 5 hours according to the data that I've been collecting for years now.
Right. And it did increase during the pandemic, right? Maybe they're still using the numbers that you had created during the pandemic, because I know, because I was watching your numbers, you would give me the numbers that there
Yes,
was an uptick during the pandemic and the aftermath, right?
yes, during the pandemic, because and this is a widely known fact. Uh, People were, well, I would say Black women or women in general were being abused because they were being housed around the clock with their abusers. They really had no escape. A lot of times, people will work outside the home or have other things to do to kind of give themselves some sort of solace, even though they,
Right.
might not leave the situation. But then you're talking about being on lockdown with your abuser. And we know when you're in that type of situation where you're constantly with someone, emotions start to run high and tensions start to flare. And again, the rates just went up exponentially.
So before we dive deeper into this, can you quickly address the elephant in the room where people are saying that you're the one that was taking money and you took over Carly's work and all that? Can you please just
Okay,
address it quickly?
that was I. Just one moment. Aside, go on here. Um, Let me address that. First of all, I had been doing this work alone by myself. Carly, was never a part of what I do. I started this work by myself with no help from anyone. She started working with me maybe about 2 years after I started the Facebook page. She was volunteering on the page as a moderator. This was my work, and the lies have started to like spin out of control. People are saying that she was the original creator, which is not true. This is
Right.
nothing, to try to besmirch her name or anything. This was never her work. You knew me way before her. When I started that page,
Right.
she was not a part of that page. I was the creator. I see someone said that I stole money, and the original creator of that page had to make a new one. The page that they're referring to is the Instagram page, which again was my page, that she again was moderating and running. I actually denied permissions to her on that page because I separated and went my separate ways. They're saying that I stole money. I was the one who set up the GoFundMe. It was for funds to raise for the march. How can I steal money from myself? I was the one who, the GoFundMe, I still have the screenshots of the GoFundMe. My name is attached to it. I was the one who raised the money. Monies were paid to people. Nobody's telling the truth. I have showed people the receipts. I had to pay, I did pay Carly. I did pay the other young woman. I'm not going to mention her name, but I did pay both of them. They had been paid. And when I decided to go my separate ways after the DC march, that's when everything started to spiral. People
Right.
were angry. People are not knowing that during that time, people are not realizing that during that time, there was never any animosity. You never saw any kind of problems until I separated after the march. If I was such a bad person, it would have been pre the march. You would have started hearing all of these tales and propaganda. None of this came out until after the march. Nobody's telling anyone what was going on behind the scenes because personally, that's nobody's business. But people decided to come out and start saying things. People are trying to say things who were never a part of it. They're going by hearsay. And of course, the squeaky wheel gets oiled. I'm the type of person, I don't have to keep going and defending myself. And the more you defend yourself, the more you will be subject to criticism.
Right.
So I'm the type of person, I'm just going to just let people say what they will and the truth will come out. Okay. When I was doing interviews with like the Washington Post and different organizations, people, Carly and the other person who I'm not going to mention, actually went to the journalists and would say, "Hey, you should interview us too. We volunteer with her." It was I started seeing that people were trying to. It was more about name recognition and being in the
Okay.
limelight. When from the beginning it was never about that. It should have always been about us. And as far as the money that was stolen, again, that was a lie. It was about $36,000. They're not telling you that half of that money was paid to them as volunteers. They volunteered to work with me. When they started working with me, it was known up front that I could not pay them, that this is a work of heart. And, I would give them something when I could.
Right.
That was always known up front. I'm a nurse. I don't own a corporate company. I can't pay people a social media salary. So they knew that they were not going to get paid. All of a sudden, when I raised the money, everything just spirals out of control. What can a person do with $36,000 in today's economy? I have no idea why people think that this was such an exponential amount of money.
Right.
But,
Okay.
again, it was a lie. Half of the money went to them to pay, and the other half of the money went to them, which I paid to them as volunteers. Nobody gets paid for volunteer work, but I still gave them something. And the other part was paid for like the hotels, planes, and everything. Nobody's also saying that there were other people who actually are friends of Carly who I paid for their hotels and their plane ticket, also there and accommodations. So there's a lot that people aren't aware of, but it's really nobody's business. If people want to take sides with her, that's fine. I have no problem with that, because what matters is Black femicide and Black women and girls being deleted from this planet. That's what matters most. If people are concerned about uh, craziness and hearsay and saying I should be out here. And another point of contention was there were other people who were on YouTube who were angry at me because I didn't get in with their crowd, because I say, I really don't care who Black women are with. I want them to be happy, healthy, safe, and sane with whoever you choose to be with, because at this point, all men present a danger, not just one particular, but all men present a danger. So that was also another point of contention with some women.
So I don't want to, and I could hear the inflection of your voice going, I can hear it bubbling up. And
Yeah,
what,
I mean,
and
because it's anger inducing, because all the hard work I've done, someone tried to tear down. But fortunately, the real people who know the truth have stood by me. I was recently published, so I have facts to back me. I have universities who back me. I have the UN who I spoke with that believes in my data. So really, the point of the issues that people have in the Black YouTube universe, in the grand scheme of things, that's where it will be. It will remain.
so yes, and like I said, I have known you, well, in the social media sense, even before you put up the website. So when things started hitting the fan, I'm also like you. I don't buy into the messiness.
Right.
I'm also like you. This is about what are we going to do to highlight the conditions of what Black women and girls are facing, because enough of our stories don't get told. So,
Correct.
putting all of the cliquish behavior behind us, I am
Thank you.
thankful for all that you have done, because you've seen it. That's how activism gets started. You see it on the front lines and then you act. So, I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate that you give me numbers, because I am a content creator, and that is how I mean, I don't really know what to do outside of just talking about it. So, what
Right.
are you working on right now?
Actually, what I'm working on right now, as of yesterday, I spoke with two well known Black women in the community who are actually helping me do some things where I can start getting grants and working with well known groups to help get this Black femicide more national recognition that it needs. So I'm really happy to announce that. And that was actually yesterday when that happened. It was transpired when that transpired. So I'm really, really happy about that. I'm really happy about that work. I'm also working with a women's group in Turkey, and so an international group has actually been following me and wanting to know what can they do to start something like that in Turkey. And the woman who actually approached me actually came to the UN conference, and I met her there.
What I am so thankful for is the power that social media has given to us. The power to have our voices not have to go through an intermediary, which is probably a man, um,
Mhm.
to we don't have to filter it anymore, because like Brown Barrett said before this, her very important statistics, I had no clue that Black men were the ones that were deleting us. How would we have known? Because for the longest time it's been like, race first, Black first, and we're supposed to just stand by. But the real boogeyman are the people that look like us. And so we've been so conditioned to protect them that it's costing us our safety, our stress levels. I'm sure you see the autoimmune diseases and all of
Mhm.
those things that Black women and girls are facing in our communities.
Yes, and I'm so glad that you brought that up because a lot of the times, and actually, what Brown Barrett has actually said also, a lot of Black women share that sentiment that they had no clue that this was happening in our community by Black men. The very ones who look like us are the ones who are, doing this to us at a high rate because it goes along with the indoctrination. Black women and girls from very, very early on are indoctrinated to be race first. That has really damaged us. Whereas other women have been molded and made to put themselves first. We, on the other hand, have been made to believe that it's a badge of honor to be a sacrificial lamb. And that has harmed us. And so those blinders on most of us, a great many of us, we are not realizing that we may be sleeping with the enemy. So, yes, and that is so true. And we don't want to believe it. And even to this day, you have a lot of Black women who don't want to believe it. They still have this white supremacy race agenda on their minds, and they refuse to let go of it. Now, I'm not going to sit up here and discount that racial oppression isn't a thing, but can we walk and chew gum at the same time?
Yes.
We have to understand that as Black women, we are at an intersection of race and sex.
Yep.
And, and within our own community,
Yep.
we are being abused based on our sex.
Give
So,
me, excuse me real
okay,
quick. Excuse me real quick, Rosa. They're doing some work outside of my house. Let me go close this window. Hold on.
okay.
Okay, I'm back. So yes, the intersection of gender and race is where we land, and not only that, but class, money.
Yep,
So
yep.
the women with money the Black women with money can maybe get away a little bit, but all of these intersections, they play
Mhm.
into each other. You cannot extract our womanhood from our Blackness, from poverty or whatever.
You really can't. You can't because we see where it has gotten us. All of these years, we have fought on the front line for racial justice. And in the Black community, when you're talking about racial justice, what you're talking about is the justice for Black men and boys. It
Yeah.
really is not about Black women and girls as a whole. It has always been about Black men and boys. But luckily, a light is starting to shine. And I am slowly but surely seeing Black women wake up, especially among the younger generations. And they're starting to put themselves first. Once you put yourself first, no one can take you down and push you behind a rock or whatever where they want you to be. They can no longer hold you down because you have to keep the standards for yourself high. And
Yep.
I'm going to quickly deviate and talk about this bull crap agenda that is constantly being pushed on Black women and girls to accept less than. I hope, and I'm sure the women in your audience are not going to support this bull crap that Tiffany Haddish is trying to push
Girl.
this show
Yep.
about successful women dating and marrying homeless men. You will never see such bull crap among cultures of other women. So this indoctrination not only comes from Black men, it comes from, I know what y'all like to call them, but I call them handmaidens. But those type of women are extremely dangerous to Black women and girls, and we need to stay very far away from them, and we need to not support such madness.
Yeah, I know that I need to start the conversation about Tiffany Haddish, and maybe I'll do that tomorrow. Um,
Yes,
but I was sent that, and I'm like, no, the F she did not. But knowing how some of us operate from, we have to protect them mindset. And we have been talking on my page about boundaries and putting ourselves first, but it's going to take at least two generations to get women and girls
yep,
out of that mindset that we have to protect them.
yes. And but it's part again, she is part of that agenda where it's support a brother, support him no matter what, support him if he's a bum, support him if he's an ex-con, support him if he has no aspirations in life. And all of those kind of combinations are what leads to Black femicide, because these men do not want to lose their place of comfort. So they're going to strike out and do whatever it takes, even if that means deleting you from the face of the earth. You're not going to be happy unless you continue to support them and their foolishness. A lot of these men are modern day damsels in distress. A damsel in distress is no longer a woman. A damsel in distress now is a dusty.
Right. So, yes. So, RY says she hadn't heard about this Tiffany mess. Understand that, yeah, I'll create a post because not everybody sees everything in the social media atmosphere. But she's basically like doing a dating show for homeless people. And when we've talked about dating down, we understand that, that I mean, class, money, profession, height, all that, none of that matters in keeping women safe. However, when an XY doesn't have money and you're doing well, he's going to leech onto you for as long as he can. And if you, the host, pull away, then your life could be in danger because the leech's life is now in danger.
Yep, yep. So again, protect yourself at all costs. Do whatever you can. And you even have to just start distancing yourself from even family, because family sometimes are also instrumental in this behavior. So you have to remove yourself from people, places, and things that don't mean you harm. If I mean that mean you harm and don't mean you well, even if that means moving away from them, cutting them off, doing whatever it is that you have to do to keep yourself safe. And if you definitely have children, you have to do by any means necessary what it takes to take care of your children, because they depend upon you. Many of these leeches uh, wiggle their way in, and they start molesting the children, whether it's a girl or a boy. They just start doing all manner of things by coming into your household. You have to keep your household and safety and sanctity first. Men are men, and they can take care of themselves no matter what. They can do what women can't in order to take care of themselves. So you have to let them be men and do what it has to do in order for them to take care of themselves. If that means hey, end up being homeless, hungry, what have you, then so be it. They're men. If they can't figure it out, why are you as a woman trying to
Right.
figure it out for them?
So yeah, that's a big thing because when we as women are when we in the household, we take care of everything. Like we have to be at our best because we're not just taking care of ourselves, we're taking care of the kids. Sometimes we're taking care of our parents. Sometimes we're taking care of our little cousins because because their mother is working somewhere else.
I'm,
So
I'm
you
going
take
to
huh?
go ahead, finish. Go
So
ahead and finish.
taking
I'm
out
going
a
to
woman or a woman not having shelter and food impacts more mouths than just that woman. If a man's food is unbalanced or threatened or whatever, that only really impacts him because he is thinking about himself first.
and I think her name is Kabla, as says, ask her why she didn't name black men as the perpetrator of the murders of black women when she was on national TV. And I use the word intraracial. So if people don't understand what intraracial is, that's not my problem. Intraracial means it's happening within the race. And also, when you are being looked at on a national platform, you can't take a social media stance like they do on YouTube and on these blogs of just being reckless and taking that type of mentality. If you want people to support you, you have to kind of sanitize what you're saying when you're doing things. Otherwise, people will not support you. If I'm, among us, that's one thing. But when you're talking about because this is political, this is a political issue for Black women. You
Right.
cannot sit up here and just be uh, aberrant with and reckless. People will not take you seriously. And I know that the reason I've gotten the support that I do is because I don't take a radical stance. I'm talking to Black women. I'm talking about Black women. I'm constantly talking about the Black community. I'm constantly saying intraracial and what happens within our community. So if people don't understand that that's naming the problem, then that's their issue.
And people have got to be realistic with this because it's not like we need to get the message out there. We need to make people understand what we're saying, but we are actually constrained by censors and we're constrained. So we have to find a way to name the thing without saying the thing. And so people that just want you to say they are the ones. That is going to get us censored even more. So it's like we as content creators, we that are working in the background have to walk a fine line, but between just and then being able to get our message out to a broader community, a wider audience. So that is the reason why, all of this cap locking, we know that these words need to be spoken, but we also know that we have got to have a platform. And if you don't want the platform pulled in entirety, then some people have to read between the line. And then sometimes people in the comment section have to say things for us that we might not be able to say as the faces of the platforms.
And she's saying that we don't have representation. That's why we don't have representation. That's very much not true. Minnesota actually has a task force set up specifically looking at the missing and murdered Black women and girls. Again, if you want to be taken seriously, you can't be out here on platforms acting as though you're on one of these blogs. You can't do that. And if you don't understand how politics and how you're going to get things addressed, is you're not going to do it. No one's going to listen to you. No one's going to listen to you ranting and raving. They're not. There's no way MIT would have allowed me would have worked with me. There's no way the Washington Post, CNN, MSNBC, all of these other national platforms would have addressed me if I was out here being reckless, like so many want me to be, but I'm not going to do that. Saying intraracial, again, means it happens between and among the race. How is that not naming the problem? Saying this is an issue in the Black community, how is that not naming the problem? How is it saying that Black men and boys are the ones that are doing this in the community to us? How is that not naming the problem? What you want is for me to be using all of this incendiary language,
Yep.
inflammatory language to
Yep.
appease your spirit. But that's
Right.
not how things work. That's not how policy changers and makers, they don't listen to people like that. If I was to do that, we wouldn't even be having this conversation today.
Right. And I know it, we're still on the same side. The whole point is we are wanting the safety, the security, for Black women and girls. We want the survival and the thriving of Black women and girls. Just because we are not hollering, cussing, and fussing doesn't mean that our passion is not there the exact same way. People have got to recognize that we don't all have the same delivery. Number one, we're not all going to be cap locking and hollering at folks, because we understand that, yes, this is politics. The folks that are ranting and raving, it's easy to just push them off to the side. But when you're bringing data, you're bringing spreadsheets, you're bringing these actual cases that you have quantified, and you're making the numbers be loud, not necessarily your voice being loud.
Yeah, I mean, I say it all the time. I can't be more clear. If people, it's not my problem that people can't understand. And the average American only has what, a fifth grade reading level. That's not a problem I created. I can't make people understand what's clear. I'm talking about Black women. I'm talking about the Black community. I'm saying intraracial. Get a dictionary and see what intraracial means. But it's
Right.
amazing to me that the same people who are critical of me will be the same people who will say, white men do the same thing to white women. Other
Right.
races of men do this to their women. It's amazing how people can
Oh,
understand what other men do to their women. But when
oh,
we talk about Black men,
okay.
all of a sudden,
Cool.
reason and sanity just goes out the door.
Okay. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. You can continue talking. Mommyhood is calling.
Uh-huh. Would this allow non-Black women to hijack this issue like they've done with everything else Black women have spearheaded, including feminism? No, because I specifically say Black femicide. Even when I'm talking on platforms where it is different groups of women, I specifically and have always stayed on task, and I say Black femicide. While other women are talking about femicide, they can water down and just say femicide. It's okay for them to say femicide, because when you see a white woman, an Asian woman, or any other woman, when they say femicide, they are specifically, more than likely, talking about themselves. But for some reason, if I were to just say femicide, people would take it as I'm joining in and supporting other women. So I want it to be known that I am specifically talking about Black women. So I say Black femicide. They can use whatever they want to, but I specifically stay on task, and I always say, hey, femicide is a global problem. But when we start focusing on Black femicide in America, that's where things take a turn. So while I can be well versed on the subject of femicide in general, my focus has always been Black femicide.
So before I go forward, Little Prism, I want to say thank you for moderating and thank you for the donation. I appreciate that. Please mute Kai Blah because yeah, she's being hostile and she needs to be muted because what I will not do on my page is allow Rosa to be disrespected and she's doing the work. Little blah, I mean, Ka blah, whatever her name is, can be loud and she can create her own network that she has put together. If she wants to holler and cap lock on things, she needs to create something for herself. What Rosa is doing is phenomenal. She's done it from the grassroots and she's done it from the bottom up. And I am not going to allow it to be disrespected on my page. So please mute her, whatever. No,
And
and not even, I appreciate you, Little Prism, for being, you're doing great as moderator, but at this particular point, she can't talk anymore.
and it's just that people are always, I'm not a savior. Let me first say that. I'm nobody's savior. If we want to do something really, I cannot be the only one. I have said we should start chapters in every state. We need to come together as Black women and do this together. We don't need outsiders helping us with this issue, but instead of coming together, it was an attack on what I may or may not believe personally and all of that takes a back seat. I'm talking about Black femicide. I personally, people are saying Black women need to stay away from Black men. I think that's very unrealistic. I
Right,
think that's very unrealistic. No group on this earth is going to stay away from one another. As I stated earlier, white women are going to be with white men, Asian women are going to be with Asian men, so forth and so on. Every group of women, whatever culture they are born into, the vast majority are going to be with that group of men. So the same rings true for Black women. I'm not a dating expert. I don't give relationship advice.
right,
I talk about a serious issue. Black women, whoever you may be with, I don't care if it's Black, white, or even a woman, whoever you're going to be with, make sure that you're happy, healthy, safe, and sane. Okay? That's the
right.
important thing.
All right. So I appreciate everybody jumping on the live. Like the live for me. I do want to say, Rosa is out here. She is a party of one. And it's not that she's a party of one. She has been reaching out to other coalitions of women. And she is unapologetic about the point of contention that she is a Black woman first organization. However, she is working with other women because let's be real, sometimes some of us don't want to be in this kind of coalition because it takes a lot to admit that the people that are harming us look like us. So tell us a little bit about some of the other connections that you're making.
Oh, well, like I said earlier, the book that actually it's a collegiate book and it's being used in the University of Guelph in Canada, the Rutledge International Handbook on Femicide and Feminicide, was just published a few months ago. And I believe I shared it on my personal page. I was just published in there, and they just really talk about the data collection and whatnot and how it's done. So that's something that I'm very proud of. The work with the UN, where I made very, very good connections, great connections there, and the work is being recognized on an international basis. And also, like I mentioned yesterday, I'm going to be making definite great strides with the two Black women that I'm going to be working with, who are a part of uh, a network, a well-known network. I don't want to mention it because I know the trolls will try to flood their page, but it's a national and international group with Black women, and I'm connecting with them, and they're going to be helping me do some things and doing some grant writing and whatnot.
And if anybody wants to donate to your cause, do you have you want to give that information as well?
At this time, I'm not really taking any donations. I do, have my PayPal is still BlackFemicide US. So, if anybody wants to donate, they can donate to my PayPal. That's still up. But I'm not really doing anything right now besides just working with women who actually see this as an issue. And I'm actually working with all colors, all races of women, because I would love to just this be about working with Black women, but unfortunately, we have a crabs in the barrel mentality, and I do believe that that's where this point of propaganda against me came, is because somebody wanted to be number one, somebody wanted their name to be out there, and because I went my separate ways, that's when the fallout came. Everybody wants to be number one, but I've always said it was never about me. It was always about Black women and girls, and that's what needs to be the focus, and that's where I'm going back to. I'm going back to the genesis uh, of when I created this. So I'm glad that I'm doing it. I'm back to my roots. Mhm.
So someone asked, what is your organization's contact information?
Um, they can just go to the Facebook page if they want to. If they want any information, they can go to the Facebook page and they can get the information from there. They can send me a message or email me at blackfemicideus@gmail.com. I'm always answering my emails.
Okay. So as you can see, me and Rosa have motherhood and she has grandmotherhood stuff going on. I got my daughter who woke up and she has her granddaughter nearby. You can't see her. Um, so first and foremost, obviously, I got a child on my lap. We are mothers and grandmother. Well, she's a grandmother first and
Uh-huh.
foremost. So um
And
obviously
that's
we
what
don't want to be
connected me
bringing
to
kids
you.
onto this seriousness. But Rosa, we've gotten the serious part out of your mouth. You have talked about it.
Uh-huh.
But what I want to talk about now going forward, you know from a nursing perspective, I know me and you have had conversations in our inbox, and you're like, you see the alarm, you're sounding the alarm on many different levels. What are some things that you see going on as far as health and Black women? What are you seeing that you want to sound the alarm on? Because I'm really into health and wellness as well. So
Woo.
tell them what you're seeing.
Well, for one thing, I see that a lot of the issues that we're dealing with in our personal lives, because we're taking care of others, we're extending ourselves far and way beyond any natural means. A lot of that is causing stress. It's causing high blood pressure. It's causing weight gain. It's causing cancers. It's causing autoimmune disorders. Okay. And so we're not taking care of ourselves. Um, I'm seeing the reckless sexual behavior. HIV is on the rise. Syphilis is on the rise. Babies being born with congenital syphilis is just at a ridiculous rate in the South. And Black women are not protecting themselves. We're the face of venereal diseases, uh, curable and incurable. So this is what I'm seeing in our community as far as we're concerned. We need to start taking care of ourselves, better care of ourselves. Uh, that same energy that we put into caring for others, we need to redirect that energy into ourselves. Imagine how we would look if we gave ourselves just a fourth of what we give to others.
Yep, and I talk about that a lot. I just think about all of the hours that we spend. Let's just talk about church. Spend in church
Mhm.
on Sundays and then Wednesdays and then cooking and prepping and all of that. Just imagine if Black women were actually cooking and exercising during that time. How much better, how much healthier we could be just a little bit.
Yes, yes. And again, like you said, you mentioned the church and everything. Black women, again, we already know Black women are the backbone of the Black community. So wherever it's something that's Black, trust and believe Black women are the backbone of it by their physical labor and most definitely their financial endeavors. We are the backbone. That's why I continuously say Black women need to pull way back and start focusing on ourselves. We need to start pulling our money out of these religious institutions. I'm not telling you to, throw away your faith by no means. But what I am saying is you can believe how you want to believe in your home. You can take uh, your financial support from these institutions that are not supporting you. I can't tell you how many stories I've seen from Black women who have been in these churches for years, and the moment they need help, that same institution will look the other way, but they will be quick to pull you on the carpet and tell you they want you to produce some W-2s to make sure that you've been given the proper amount of tithes every year. I'm not doing that to something that's based on spirituality. You don't need to see my W-2s. I give what I want to from my heart. You don't know people struggle in their home. So I have a big problem with the church. I don't have a problem with people's belief, but I do have a big problem with Black religious, the institution of Black religion.
Same. I'm agnostic, and I believe that we can believe what we want to believe, but
Yep.
everything has to have some kind of balance. Our health in general requires a healthy balance between mental, physical, financial well-beings as and our relationships with others. And that includes relationships with these organizations. There's no reason why it takes hours upon hours a week giving to a religious organization when you're not doing the same for yourself.
No, no. You be hard pressed to see uh, Black women who even just give an hour to lay on the couch, to go get a pedicure, to go get a massage. Um, those are things that you really need to do. Go to a park and take a hike, give yourself a picnic, do something that means you love yourself. Go do something that you enjoy doing and only you know how to give you. Stop giving that part of yourself to other people who are not willing to give it to you in return. And
For
yeah,
for
travel
the
retail.
I apologize, Rosa, for the people that are watching, and you too, Rosa, just so you know, I have to do a hard stop at 10 o'clock.
Oh, that's no
because
problem.
mommyhood calls and the kids have swim lessons.
Oh, no problem.
But I do want to remind everybody to like the broadcast. Obviously, you guys know that I'm going to have this available for playback just in case anyone missed the beginning of it. It's been a good conversation from the
It,
beginning. We just know that I mean, we're talking the empowerment, the survival, the thriving of Black women. And what that takes is us being healthy and whole and safe, first and foremost. But after we've established that we are now safe, we need to create a healthy mind, body, and spirit for the rest of ourselves because we have these people that are counting on us to be happy and whole. And yes, like little Prism said, we gotta travel. We have to connect with like-minded people, and it does not always have to be fight, fight, fight. I know that some people want us to just be like, "Arr, let's go," but that's harmful to our autoimmune system. That's harmful to our stress levels to constantly be in fight mode. We need to be able to sit down sometime and just, hold our kids and relax and breathe and, just take in what all that we have done.
Yep, and that is so true. And I definitely believe in the power of travel. Once with all of the flack and stuff that was going on after that march, I shortly after that, I ended up I went to Berlin for some time. I love it over there. And I went to Berlin, and then at the beginning of this year, I went to New York. I ended up going to Toronto for my birthday shortly. I went to my birthday at the first of the year because that was in January. And then I ended up going to New York for the UN thing, but I also had time to uh, relax and enjoy myself and connect with a couple of two or three women that I knew from social media. And then again, I went to Berlin again in April because, as I said, I love it over there. So I'm constantly, traveling. I'm doing things with my daughters and to show my daughters that life isn't about centering men, but it's about centering themselves. And if someone is not willing to center you and actually support you in what your vision is for this life, then they're no use to you. Then you need to move on. And I want to show that with my daughters. So I don't just talk this, I actually live it.
Sorry, y'all. I have
No, no,
a
no, that's okay.
child that is being a little wiggle worm. Okay. I know you're not a worm for real. Okay. Why they call me a wiggle worm? Well, I'm just saying that you're wiggling. Yeah. Okay, I'm a wiggle. Yes, I want us to have safe spaces. Rosa, somebody said that she hopes that we could do a live together some other time.
Yeah.
So obviously the women that I connect with, I am so thankful and grateful that I have so many women in my network that are doing things. And what I love about my network of women is that we're doing things and we're all coming from a different perspective, a different lane. So it's not like it's
Uh-huh.
competition. It's all just trying to get the word out and, help women, help Black women.
That's what I
So
love that's what I love about your channel too. I want to say this right quick. I love that about your channel and the women that follow you. I noticed that they are very keen, like-minded women. They're not women who are out here being argumentative, who are out here trying to start trouble, who are doing all of this click like child like high school behavior and antics. They're really about moving forward and being the best that they can be at life. So I applaud you. And I knew that your channel would be like this because I knew of your presence before you had a channel. So it's not
right.
surprising that the people and the women that follow you are very level-headed, sane women.
Isn't it crazy to step out of the Facebook world and into this YouTube space, and how quickly we've been able to coalesce and get these messages out? I've been
Yes,
so thankful and grateful for the supporters that I've had, and for the people that have been willing to share their information and their expertise, because I am a projector. I take what you guys say and I give it to the people. So without people like you, I wouldn't have had all of this content to be able to filter out to the rest of the people.
I don't know,
Oh,
because
oh, oh.
you're very
So
upbeat.
y'all, they said that we have 83 viewers on this, but only 22 likes. Can
Yeah,
y'all 83 sets of eyeballs, 86 sets of eyeballs, hit like for me?
yeah, and get the likes and shares up on the video as well. But I'm sure more than likely, the crazy comments are gonna come, because the people who, my detractors are, they're not gonna be happy. I haven't been saying anything for a few months now. I don't really, I said I'm going back to just being quiet. And I'm sure they thought they shut me down or whatever, but once they hear about this video, they're going to share it. They're going to be doing all kinds of stuff with it. So
Okay. Are you done?
expect the BS to come.
Okay. All right. So my daughter has left me, so that'll give me a chance to wrap up the conversation. I appreciate you coming on, and y'all, I'll try to bring Rosa in. I like that you guys are liking the guest that I'm bringing along. Next week, I have a guest coming. Oh, one of my girlfriends, one of my good friends who's really into education. She's in education, in a red state, and we're going to be talking about what people need to do with their kids, because we got to start getting ready for what's coming as far as education. We are a homeschooling family ourselves, and let's be real, teaching and the medical profession it is going down, is on its last leg, and COVID really brought that out. So parents and people in general need to be ready as far as taking control of your children's education and taking care of your health and all of that. So next Saturday at 9 o'clock, I will be having one of my girlfriends who is into education talk. Chrissy, you wanna say hi?
Hi,
Tell everybody to like and subscribe.
like and subscribe.
So
She's such
Chrissy is
a
my secret weapon where it comes to marketing. I got to bring them in periodically.
I was actually just in Chicago a few weeks ago.
Oh, whew, all right. So Chrissy, they said baby girl is a cutie pie. And that you're so cute. The reason why, Rosa, I don't bring them in is because soon as she comes in, they take over the chat.
Yes,
All
I
right.
see.
Right. You see where the chat is going, talking to Chrissy.
Yeah.
All right. So we've said like and subscribe. Chrissy has said like and subscribe. Now I want to throw it to you, Rosa, for the last word.
Okay. Well, I'd like to say in closing, Black women, young Black women especially, please stay vigilant, protect your peace, invest in yourself, give all the love you need to yourself. Stop wasting it on other people who don't mean you any good intentions. That will come in time. There's no rush to that. Live life to the fullest, enjoy yourself, and not, do not become a stepping stone for someone else, especially a man. A man is made to bear pressure. And if he can't uh, bear the pressure of supporting himself, he's of no use to you. Love yourself and make sure those who come into your life also love themselves as well.
Okay. We appreciate you stopping by, and that is going to be the last word, y'all. So we're going to say bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody on the live, and bye, everybody that watches the playback. All right, I'm going to end it.
All right.